Hello friends and welcome to Pendulum Video. Today we'll be discussing daily current affairs of 31st July 2020. So guys, quickly join this session and also ask other people to join this session. And those who have not subscribed to our channel Pendulum Video, they can subscribe it and press the bell icon to receive notification. And also you can join us on our Telegram channel for studying material for your exams. Now let's start. Let us see what news are there for today. So first news is July 30. World Day Against Trafficking in Persons. So every year on 30th July, World Day Against Trafficking in Persons is observed. And why this day is observed? To raise awareness about the threat of human trafficking and to protect the human rights of the victims. So as we all know that the cases of human trafficking have been increasing. According to United Nations Drugs and Crimes UNODC, more than 2 million victims of trafficking have been detected worldwide since 2003. So it is emerging as a threat to human rights, and therefore to raise the awareness about the threat of human trafficking, this day is observed. For the first time in 2013, the United Nations General Assembly designated July 30 as World Day Against Trafficking in Persons, and since 2013, this is being celebrated as the World Day Against Trafficking in Persons. The theme for the year 2020 focuses on the first responders to human trafficking. Okay, now globally governments are trying to locate victims of trafficking and bring them justice. The UN also started the Blue Heart campaign. So if a question is asked that this Blue Heart campaign is related to what, then it is related to trafficking, human trafficking, to create awareness of human trafficking and its effects on society so that crime can be prevented by encouraging the participation of governments, civil society, corporate sector and individuals. So the participation of various stakeholders in preventing human trafficking and to create awareness regarding the impact of human trafficking on society, on the individual, on the national level and as a global, on the global level. So this all is done in the Blue Heart campaign. So this campaign has been started by United Nations. Okay, so let's move forward. Let's see a question. On which day is the World Day Against Trafficking in Persons observed? 30 July, 20 July, 10 July and 5 July. Quickly comment the correct answer. Very easy. On which day is the World Day Against Trafficking in Persons observed? The correct answer is option A, that is 30 July. Moving forward, Union Cabinet approved the National Education Policy 2020. So recently, this National Education Policy, which is the new Education Policy 2020, it has been approved by the Union Cabinet, and this policy, it will replace a 34 years old policy. Okay, since then the education policy has not been updated. The new National Education Policy submitted by the committee constituted under the chairmanship of K. Kasturi Rangan followed the TSR Subramanian report 2016. So what happened that first this TSR Subramanian committee was formed. It submitted its report in 2016. After that one more committee was constituted under the chairmanship of K. Kasturi Rangan, and it submitted its report in 2019, the draft the draft National Education Policy 2019, and after that it was uploaded on the website for the public reviews, and after that the suggestions were received online, and finally this National Education Policy 2020 has been approved. The following points have been emphasized in the National Education Policy 2020. So what points have been emphasized? First of all, creating a single regulator for higher education institutions except for legal and medical colleges. So apart from legal and medical colleges, for all other higher education institutions, there will be a single regulator. So this is the aim of this policy, and that single regulation will be the Higher Education Council of India, HECI, will be formed. And ending MPhil courses, this is also the aim of this National Education Policy, and not to give much importance to board exams, and conducting joint entrance examination for admission to universities. So joint entrance examinations will be conducted for admission to the universities. Also, Ministry of HRD has now been renamed as the Ministry of Education. So the new name of the Ministry of HRD will be the Ministry of Education. The aim of this new national education policy is to increase the gross enrollment rate in the field of first, to increase the gross enrollment rate at school level, and also to increase the gross enrollment rate in the field of higher education also to 50% by 2035. So the GER has to be achieved up to 50% in the higher education by 2035. In 2018, this rate was 26.3%. At least 3.5 crore new seats will be increased in higher education institutes. Provision of a broad-based, multidisciplinary, holistic undergraduate education in which the curriculum will be flexible, creative and integrated with vocational education. So there will be focus like the curriculum in the undergraduate education, it will be made flexible, it will be made creative, and it will be integrated with the vocational education. And also the education of a graduate can be of 3 or 4 years. In this course, one can also come out with certificates and diplomas at different levels. The mother tongue or regional language will be the medium of instruction till the 5th grade. So there will be no imposition of a particular language on a particular children. So up to 5th class, children will be taught in either in the mother tongue or in the regional language. So the medium of instruction now will be the mother tongue or the regional language. And vocational education will also be given to the children from 6th grade. So from 6th class, student will be receiving vocational education. In the next 15 years, the system of associating colleges with university will be phased out. Okay, so in the next 15 years, the system of associating colleges with university, that will be phased out. So what is this gross enrollment rate ratio? Basically GER, gross enrollment ratio. So it basically measures the enrollment of a percentage of specific age group of the population. So it basically checks like regardless of age, it is expressed as a percentage of total population that are enrolled in a particular school. Okay, so this determines the number of students enrolled in school at several grade levels. So this is called gross enrollment ratio. So the new national education policy, it aims to increase this gross enrollment ratio at the school level as well as in the field of higher education. Okay, now moving forward, which of the following points are included in the National Education Policy 2020, creating a single regulator for higher education institutions, completion of MPhil courses, conducting joint entrance examination for admission to universities, and all of the above? Quickly comment the correct answer. Which points are included in National Education Policy 2020? The correct answer is option D, that is all of the above. Moving forward, Namami Gange project also included in the Prime Minister's Award for Excellence in Public Administration. So the project Namami Gange was included in the Prime Minister's Award for Excellence in Public Administration because it has shown outstanding performance in the field of public administration. Talking about Namami Gange, this project was launched in 2014 and the implementing agency for this project is National Mission for Clean Ganga and its state equivalent organization. The National Mission for Clean Ganga, it aims to make Ganga clean and continuous. It also aims to develop a socio-economic zone around the Ganges and its tributaries which can strengthen the Self-Reliant India campaign. So the mission not only aims to make the Ganga clean and continuous, but it also aims to develop socio-economic zone around the Ganges and its tributaries which can strengthen the Self-Reliant India campaign or Atmanirbhar Abhiyan. Moving forward, let us see a question. In which year was the Namami Gange project launched? Quickly comment the correct answer. 2012, 2016, 2014 and 2018. So what will be the answer for this? The correct answer is option C, that is 2014. Moving forward, Brajendra Navneet presented the credentials of his post to Roberto Azevedo, the Director General of World Trade Organization. So recently, as we all know, that Brajendra Navneet, he was appointed as the new ambassador and permanent representative of India to WTO, and now he presented his post of introduction to DG of WTO, that is Roberto Azevedo. And talking about WTO, it is an intergovernmental organization which is responsible for the regulation of international trade between different nations. Its headquarters are located in Geneva, Switzerland, and this was established in 1995. The current Director General is Roberto Azevedo, and he decided to step down on 31st August before 1 year before the end of his second term. Okay, so there will be a new Director General from 1st September, and the current members, if we talk about the current members of WTO, so these are 164, and recently WTO was also in news due to the appointment of Turkmenistan. It is a Central Asian country, so this has been given observer status by the WTO Council. The WTO General Council, it gave the status of observer to Turkmenistan, and the observer status means that the Turkmenistan can participate in the various meetings of WTO, but it cannot vote. Okay, and India is a member of WTO. Now moving forward, let's see a question. Recently, in which institution Brajendra Navneet has been appointed as the new ambassador and permanent representative of India? World Trade Organization, World Health Organization, World Bank and United Nations. Quickly comment the correct answer. What will be the correct answer for this? The correct answer is option A, that is World Trade Organization. Okay, tell me, where are the headquarters of World Health Organization located? Quickly comment. Where are the headquarters of WHO located? WHO is in news from a very long time due to COVID-19. Quickly comment. Where is the headquarters of WHO located? So it is located in Geneva, Switzerland. And the headquarters of World Bank, these are located in, quickly comment, very easy. World Bank headquarters are located in Washington, DC, US. And where are the headquarters of United States located? Quickly comment. UN headquarters are located in New York, US. And who is the current Director General of WHO? Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus. Okay, Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus is the current Director General of WHO, and who is the current Director General of, or you can say President of World Bank? David Malpass. Okay, and who is the head of United Nations? Quickly comment. The Director General of, we say usually Secretary General in UN. So is the Secretary General of United Nations? Antonio Guterres. Okay, he is the Secretary General of United Nations. Now moving forward to the next news. Agreement on smart grid technology between PFC and IIT Kanpur. So the Power Finance Corporation and IIT Kanpur, they have signed an agreement on smart grid technology. And the objective of this agreement is to assist IIT Kanpur to prepare the infrastructure for research and development regarding smart grid technology. Under this agreement, PFC will provide financial assistance of 2,38,97,000 to IIT Kanpur, and under the project, IIT Kanpur will train 90 participants about smart grid technology. Out of these, 9 selected participants will also get fellowship, and they will be assisted by Startup Innovation and Incubation Center Enterprise. Power Finance Corporation, if we talk about, it is a public sector undertaking which is under the Ministry of Power. As from the name you can guess that which the ministry is, Power Finance Corporation, so it will be in the Ministry of Power. It was established in 1986 and it is the financial backbone of Indian power sector. It is a central PSU and it is also India's leading NBFC. Okay, and PFC was also in news because PFC has tied up with Taj Sets. Taj Sets is Asia's one of the largest food companies, and they tied up to provide the hygienic food and nutritious food to the doctors and medical staff. Those who are involved in the treatment of COVID-19 patients. Okay, so this was the news about PFC. Now moving forward, let's see a question. What is not true with respect to Power Finance Corporation? It is a public sector undertaking under the Ministry of Power. It was established in 1996. It is the financial backbone of the Indian power sector. Recently, the agreement on smart grid technology has been signed between Power Finance Corporation and IIT Kanpur. Quickly comment the correct answer. What is not true with respect to Power Finance Corporation? Quickly comment. You have to tell which statement is false. The correct answer is option B, because PFC was established in 1986 and not 1996. Now moving forward to the next news. Human Resource Development Minister Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank has recently launched a report on digital education 2020. This report contains the detail about the new methods adopted by the education departments of states and union territories to ensure accessible and inclusive education to children at home. As we all know that the education sector has been largely affected due to the COVID-19, and the various governments, including the state government, the central government, they have adopted many methods to ensure accessible and inclusive education to children at home, and this all was discussed in this report. A number of projects have been initiated to help learners, such as Diksha platform. This Diksha platform, it was launched in 2017, and this is accessible via web portal and also through the mobile app. And this Diksha platform, it provides it basically aims to build a one nation, one digital platform for school education. So this Diksha platform, this is not only for the students, it is also for the teachers and any other person who want to access the books or the study material for the school level education and also the higher education. And also Swayam Prabha TV channel. So there are 32 DTH channels which have been dedicated for the education of school children and higher education. There are separate channels for the higher education and school education, and the content for classes 1 to 12 is covered in that. And this Swayam Prabha TV channel, this was initiated because not in India, not everyone is having the internet connectivity, so such people can watch the content through TV channels. And also the government has tied up with the private providers, DTH providers like Airtel and other Tata Sky like channel providers to broadcast these channels. And also those students, those have neither the internet connectivity, neither they have the accessibility to the television channels. So for them, the initiative for On-Air Shiksha Vani was initiated. So this On-Air Shiksha Vani, this is a podcast of CBSE, and in this there is a content for audio content for the school children from class 1 to 12, and also e-Pathshala. This e-Pathshala, it is also accessible via a web portal and also by the mobile app. And many books are there which can be downloaded, all NCERT books. More than 600 books have been there on this portal, and you can download this NCERTs from e-Pathshala. Those who have been those who have been preparing for UPSC, they would have downloaded many times this ePathshala app, and such type of initiatives have been taken. And also one major initiative, PM eVidya. This PM eVidya initiative, this was launched recently in May 2020 by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and this initiative aims to unify all the digital education related initiatives so as to provide or you can say as to ensure accessible and inclusive education to all children. Students are also using online classes through social media tools such as WhatsApp groups, YouTube channels and Google. So these all points were discussed in this India report on digital education. Now moving forward to the next news. MOU between India and Zimbabwe on cooperation in the field of traditional medical systems and homeopathy has been approved by the cabinet. And regarding this, an MOU was signed between India and Zimbabwe on 3rd November 2018, and now finally this agreement has been approved by the Union Cabinet. The objective of this MOU is to strengthen the cooperation between the two countries in the field of traditional medical systems on the basis of quality and mutual benefit. Talking about Zimbabwe, it is a landlocked country in the southern Africa. You can see the location of Zimbabwe. It is a landlocked country. It is surrounded by countries like Zambia, Mozambique, Botswana, and its capital is Harare, and the currency is United States dollar. And the current president of Zimbabwe is Emerson Mnangagwa. So Emerson Mnangagwa is the current president of Zimbabwe. Now let's see a question related to the news. Which of the following statements is true? Okay, so now you have to tell which statement is true. Recently, an MOU between India and Zimbabwe on cooperation in the field of traditional medical systems and homeopathy has been approved by the cabinet. Second, it is a landlocked country in North Africa. One only, two only, both one and two, none of the above. So quickly comment the correct answer. What will be the correct answer for this? Which statement is true? The correct answer is option A, that is one only, because the MOU between India and Zimbabwe on cooperation in the field of traditional medical systems and homeopathy, it has been approved by the cabinet. Zimbabwe is a landlocked country, that is true, but it is located in southern part of Africa and not in the northern one. Okay, suppose this is Africa, so it is located in this southern part. Okay, now moving forward. Karnataka Chief Minister B.S. Yedurappa laid the foundation stone of Life Sciences Park in Electronic City, Bengaluru. So recently, Karnataka Chief Minister B.S. Yedurappa has laid the foundation stone of the much awaited Life Sciences Park at Electronic City, Bengaluru. The first phase of this park is expected to be completed by December 2022 based on the public-private partnership model. Equipped with the world's best biotechnology infrastructure, Life Sciences Park has the potential to generate over 50,000 jobs, and it is also estimated to house over 150 companies. Karnataka has currently 9% market share in the biotechnology sector in Asia, while India has around 35% share. So we can see a large share is held by Karnataka in the market of biotechnology in Asia. Now moving forward, where has the foundation stone of Life Sciences Park been laid recently? Delhi, Bangalore, Mumbai or Chennai? Quickly comment the correct answer. Where has the foundation stone of Life Sciences Park been laid recently? The correct answer is option B, that is Bangalore. Next news is Green AG project has been recently launched in Mizoram, and the project aims to encourage sustainable change in agriculture. So it aims to encourage the sustainable transformation in agriculture, but keeping in mind without compromising the country's present food security. The project, it will be implemented at Dampa Tiger Reserve. So this Dampa Tiger Reserve is located in Mizoram. This is an important information. And Thoronglang Wildlife Sanctuary. So this is another wildlife sanctuary which is located in Mizoram. Thoronglang Wildlife Sanctuary in Lunglei district in the southern part of the state, covering 30 villages. Mizoram is one of the 5 states where the Green AG project is being run. Other states are Madhya Pradesh, Odisha, Rajasthan and Uttarakhand. So there are total 5 states where this project is being run on the pilot basis, and these states are Mizoram, Madhya Pradesh, Odisha, Rajasthan and Uttarakhand. Green AG project is funded by the Global Environment Facility, while the Department of Agriculture, Cooperation and Farmers Welfare is its national executive agency. The project seeks to integrate biodiversity, climate change and sustainable land management objectives and practices in Indian agriculture. This pilot project in all these states, it will end on 31 March 2026. Now let's see a question related to the news. In which state is the Green AG project not currently underway? So you have to tell in which state the project is not underway. Madhya Pradesh, Odisha, Rajasthan and Bihar. A tricky question for you guys. Quickly comment. Let's see who will be answering this. The correct answer is option D, that is Bihar. Moving forward, Astrogen project or astronomy genealogy project has been started in US, and this project has been launched by the American Astronomical Society and its Historical Astronomy division. It is a genealogy project for academics, especially for those who have earned their doctorate on research related to astronomy. The project allows these academics to trace their ancestors. The database used for this provides information about more than 33,000 astronomers, their advisors and links to universities and their dissertations. Okay, so this Astrogen project, it has been started in United States. Let's see a question. Recently, Astrogen project has been started by which country's astronomical society? Very easy question. Britain, India, France and USA. Quickly comment the correct answer. What will be the correct answer for this? Yes, option D will be the correct answer. Moving forward to the next news, NTPC Simadri plant developed rail cycle. So the NTPC Simadri plant near Visakhapatnam has developed a rail cycle. You can see over here this rail cycle. It is the first model of its kind and it can easily reach emergency places during rainfall. Rail bicycle is a lightweight structure. It will be useful for patrolling on closed section or low traffic tracks due to COVID-19. And talking about NTPC, it is a central PSU under the Ministry of Power. It is the largest power generation company in India. This NTPC was established on 7 November 1975. And NTPC was also in news for another reason. NTPC has received an award which is CII ITC Sustainability Award. This award has been received by NTPC CII ITC Sustainability Award for its outstanding performance in ensuring sustainable environment, and also it was commended for its activities related to CSR. Okay, so that is why NTPC was in news. Now moving forward, let's see a question. Recently, which organization has developed the railway bicycle? DRDO, CSIR, NTPC and ISRO. Quickly comment the correct answer. Which organization has developed the railway bicycle? DRDO, CSIR, NTPC and ISRO. The correct answer will be option C, that is NTPC. Moving forward, let's see in the next news. The latest report on the status of tigers, co-hunters and prey in India has been released by the central government. This report states that there is a very little hunting for tigers in the Nagarjuna Sagar Srisailam Tiger Reserve. Therefore, focusing on the prey population is essential for the health and development of tiger population in the reserve forest. Due to the lack of prey population, there is very little hunting left for tigers, and the prey population is important for the health and development of tiger population in the reserve forest. And it is mandatory to control anthropological pressure inside the park, such as grazing of animals and hunting of wild animals. So such activities need to be controlled. Nagarjuna Sagar Srisailam Tiger Reserve, it is the largest tiger reserve in India. The reserve is spread over 5 districts in Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. The region consists mostly of Nallamala hills, and the Krishna river flows through this reserve. So if you remember the Nagarjuna Sagar Dam, so this dam is also built on the Krishna river. So if a question is asked that which river flows through Nagarjuna Sagar Sri Sailam Tiger Reserve, so you will be able to answer that Krishna river flows through this reserve. Now moving forward, let's see a question. What is not true with respect to Nagarjuna Sagar Sri Sailam Tiger Reserve? So you have to tell which statement is not correct with respect to Nagarjuna Sagar Sri Sailam Tiger Reserve. So it is the largest tiger reserve in India. This reserve is spread over 5 districts in Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. The area consists mostly of Anaimudi Hills. According to a recent report, hunting for tigers in the Nagarjuna Sagar Sri Sailam Tiger Reserve is very less. So quickly comment the correct answer. What is not true with respect to Nagarjuna Sagar Sri Sailam Tiger Reserve? The correct answer is option C, because this statement is not true, because this area consists mostly of Nallamala Hills and not Anaimudi Hills. Okay. Now moving forward to the next news. A stolen Natesa statue of Rajasthan temple returned to India. So recently the Natesa statue of the Rajasthan temple that was stolen in 1998 has returned to India. This statue belonged to the Ghateshwar temple, which is located in Baroli, Rajasthan. So a question can be asked where this Ghateshwar temple is located. So it is located in Rajasthan. In 1998, suspected thieves, they stole this Natesa statue and replaced it with a fake statue and sold it outside the country. Then in 2003, a London collector J. Kasmin, he recognized the statue, he received it and handed it over to the Indian High Commission. And the statue was there in Indian High Commission, London, and now it has returned to India. Talking about a Natesa statue, it is a beautiful Shiva statue of 4 feet height. You can see the image, and it has a beautiful depiction of Nandi behind the right leg. So this is the depiction of Nandi behind the right leg. It was built in the 9th century from a rare sandstone, and it is a rare idol in the Pratihara style. Okay, and this is a statue of Lord Shiva from Nataraj statue. You can relate it. Nut is there and Natesa nut is there. So this, from this nut you can relate that it is also dedicated to Lord Shiva. Okay. Now moving forward, let's see a question. Recently, the Natesa statue of the stolen Rajasthan temple has returned to India in 1998. It is the idol of which deity? Vishnu, Shiva, Brahma, and none of these. Quickly comment the correct answer. The Natesa statue of the stolen Rajasthan temple has returned to India. It is the idol of which deity? The correct answer is option B, that is Shiva. So friends, here we have covered the daily current affairs and related questions. I hope you are daily following this daily current affairs, and like the video, share it as much as you can, and if you have any doubt you can mention that in comment box. Keep preparing well. All the best. Thank you so much.